right. I guess we're almost there. 10 o'clock. Everybody who's here, let's stand up and do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, let's convene the Indian Wells City Council and let's do a roll call.
Councilmember Sanders,
Present.
Councilmember Penna,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Reed,
Present.
Councilmember Taylor.
Here. Bruce is out sick today, so shall we move that he's excused from this meeting?
I so move.
Aye.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Okay. Let's go into the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve today's agenda?
So move.
Second?
Second.
There you go. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes 4-0. Okay, now we're on to letter C here, proclamations and presentations. First we have Ken. You want to come up and talk about Public Works permit?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Honorable Council Member, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. It's my pleasure to introduce you to the newest member of the Public Works team, Stephanie Swanstrom.
Stephanie, welcome.
Good morning.
She comes to us from the city of Oceanside, has 16 years of experience with the city of La Quinta, 10 years with this Riverside County, and is quickly getting up to speed with our process, and we're happy to have her here.
Perfect. You're not commuting from Oceanside, are you?
No, I did. I relocated. I moved back to the desert 2 weeks
Thank
ago.
you.
Yeah.
Ken, has she learned the Public Works cheer? Yeah.
We actually did it 3 times yesterday. We had a lot to celebrate, and so she's learning it.
Very good.
Getting up to
Welcome.
speed on the clap. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Very
you.
exciting. No, thank you very much. Welcome. Welcome to the team. Okay, the next item on the agenda is an update, a legislative update by our brilliant consultants, the Gonzalez's. Jason, are you coming to speak for the team today?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor and members of the council. Jason Gonzalez. I'm with the lobbying firm Joey Gonzalez and Son. It's a privilege to be here before you this morning. As you likely know, our firm is a family firm. It was founded by my grandfather, and today consists of my father, who's your resident expert here in the audience, as well as myself and my brother Paul. Just very briefly looking back at the 2024 legislative session, I guess we have to know where we've been to know where we're going. The legislature did not disappoint. They sent before the August 31st, 2024 adjournment 1,206 bills to Governor Newsom, of which he signed 1,017. So I guess the takeaway is, particularly for the city attorney, is as of January, there's 1,000 plus all very much needed new laws on the books. This year, February 21st.
Allegedly, almost.
This year, February 21st was the deadline to introduce bills. There was a lot made up about, or a lot said about the Assembly and Senate wanting to focus on the affordability crisis in California. So therefore, first it started as after post-November, we're going to Trump-proof California. That quickly turned, the voters' message, I think, was received from the governor on down. That turned to addressing the affordability crisis. And in doing so, they reduced the number of bills that members of the legislature can introduce. In the Assembly, from 50 down to 35. In the Senate, from 40 down to 35. I guess the good news is they reduced the number of bills. The bad news is they introduced 2,380 bills by February 21st. Now, as part of that introduction, all those bills have to be in print constitutionally for 30 days before they can be heard. And so most bills will not be eligible until late March, on or around March 21st. You have spring recess in April, And the deadline to get out of policy committees on fiscal bills is May 2nd, on non-fiscal bills is May 9th. So that you create a pressure cooker of 2,300 bills with about 6 weeks of vetting to get out of the first policy committees. And then obviously they have to go to the fiscal committees, the floor, and then to the other house. So the point being is things will start to ramp up. It's kind of the calm before the storm now, but things will start to ramp up in late March, later this month. And half of the bills literally are spot bills. So we'll have to see the contents of those bills develop in the next 3 weeks or so as well. As far as priorities, we just concluded, actually, when the legislature adjourned in August, the governor called an extraordinary session on oil refinery reserves. So they really didn't leave until September, October, because they ultimately did pass the oil refinery reserve package that the governor had requested. It's interesting to note that it was intended to drive down gas prices, but the governors of Arizona and Nevada, Democrat and Republican, both sent a letter to the governor asking he not proceed with that package. The legislature did it the California way and proceeded, but we'll see what that effect is on fuel prices. We also had another extraordinary session called in December. It started again as a reaction to the November election. It became affordability, and now it's turned into addressing the wildfire crisis in California. So we will see the wildfire crisis and the interplay between the president and Washington, D.C., as well as the governor. And I think you've probably noted Governor Newsom has taken a new approach in working with the president for obvious reasons. They're going to need federal relief to rebuild Southern California, and we'll see how that relationship continues to transpire. What I will note is we're likely going to see strings attached, and I guess representing local governments, it can kind of be somewhat fun to watch because they always attach strings, they being the state, when they send money to local agencies. So it's kind of fun to see DC perhaps attach a few strings of their own, having gone through that on the local level. As far as priorities within the legislature, last year we saw public safety at the forefront. I think the voters of California sent a loud message with Prop 36 in stating that we'd had enough. And Prop 36 passed in all 58 counties, and we also saw a 10 bill retail theft package that was leveraged against the proponents, the retailers, and the district attorneys as an alternative to Prop 36. Then the governor and legislative leadership even went as far as to try to propose a substitute initiative. The proponents fortunately stayed together. The idea was to try to bifurcate the retailers, which had the financing of the initiative, and the DAs. They held tough, and Prop 36, as well as the 10 bill retail theft package, the legislature passed it. The governor signed the theft package. Prop 36 went before the voters and was passed. All of that history is now playing out because the legislature has to fund the implementation of Prop 36. The courts, local law enforcement efforts, whatever coordination, whether that's drug court, probation, all of that interplay. And there's a little bit of a tug of war taking place as to how much funding will come out of the state budget to implement Prop 36. But I think we're optimistic we will see it start to take shape, and not the least of which is the drug court provisions trying to provide treatment. Housing and homelessness will continue to be at the forefront this legislative session. The former chair of the Assembly Housing Committee is the chair of the Assembly Select Committee on Permitting. This week we sent to the management team a report. It's about a year's worth of meetings, 1,000 plus or minus stakeholders. And what the report concluded is there's too many hurdles or impediments to permitting housing development in California. It's the same scapegoat message we hear all the time. It's the locals not permitting housing. Obviously, the facts don't get in the way of a good story. But as a result of that report, the chair of the committee, again, former chair of the Housing Committee, said we will see 20 plus bills on housing introduced as a result of this report. the challenge, particularly for your management staff, is there was 20 plus housing bills that just took effect in January. And as you're trying to ramp up with the implementation of those bills, you're going to see yet another 20 plus bills coming down the pipe, between now and the next 30 days or so. So we'll continue to keep you apprised of that, but that continues to be a challenge. We've seen a lot of the housing policies come out of the Bay Area. And what I would argue is what the one size fits all, what fits San Francisco is clearly not, a template for Indian Wells. And that's just an ongoing challenge and message we have to continue to deliver to the members of the legislature. Looking forward, we have 29 new members of the legislature. If you count the 7 senators that had previously served in the Senate, you have 36, but 29 brand new. And when I say previously served, there's some senators that were elected that served 8-10 years ago, went off to Congress and now came back to the state Senate, like Laura Richardson out of Long Beach. Very different capital than when she had left 10 plus years ago. But the point being is there's 29 brand new members. In 2022, we had 37. So 66 of the 120 members of the legislature have 2 years or less experience. There was a panel at Contract Cities in January, 3 members addressing contract cities. Cumulatively, they had 2 years of experience. So there's a ramp up curve for the new members. Our job is to tell the story, tell Indian Wells story. People like to think about golf courses. They don't actually connect the dots of golf courses and flood control. And so, that messaging will continue to be our task, and reiterating that, not just with your legislators who obviously know their district, it's the chairs of the housing committees, the budget committees. We oftentimes, when you get into these housing debates, Indian Wells, it's a different message than, say, San Francisco, Oakland, the larger cities. So we'll continue to keep you apprised on the housing front, as well as new members. And what I would note is we have in 2026 15 new members coming. So you'll have 81 of 120 with 4 years or less experience. And we're starting to see that turnover really take effect. And not to digress too much, but there's 17 following in 2028. So the legislature is going to turn over drastically in the next 4 years. As for Indian Wells, we've had the privilege of working on a number of issues over the years. One fun story is dairy redevelopment dissolution. I was meeting with a good friend of mine that was heading up the dissolution process, and we made the argument, I think it was an appropriate argument, that the property across from the tennis gardens, kind of apoplectic given the BMP is taking place now, but that property, we made it as it was overflow parking. So I sit down in this meeting with Justin Howard, and he pulls out a photo, and it was an aerial photo of that property lined with no parking signs. And he says, "Jason, how do you explain this?" And I said, "Justin, how do I explain Google Earth has not updated their images? I can't explain that." And we ended up transferring the property. So there's been some fun along the way. We're working with your management team, specifically Kevin and I have been in conversations about addressing the inequities of property tax shares. And I'm not suggesting that's an easy thing to do, but many don't realize after Prop 1A in 2004, the constitutional protection of property tax, sales tax, which we traded VLF, and VLF, which we traded for property tax. That allows for the shifting of property tax shares on a 2/3 vote of the legislature. Post Proposition 1A in Santa Clara County, there were 4 no and low property tax cities that were capped at 4% share. And we were able, with then Assemblymember Rebecca Cohn, grow them from 4% to 7%. But it was a local agreement with the county, and there was an exchange of services for the donut hole areas that weren't getting services the cities took on for public safety and key services. And it was a kind of willing buyer, willing seller agreement that allowed for those 4 no and low cities to get 7% share of the property tax, which, like Indian Wells, once you get that share and assessed valuations grow, it's an obvious benefit to the city. So whether
County was that?
that was in Santa Clara County, but the point, whether it's a 2/3 vote bill of the legislature, there's enhanced infrastructure financing districts, You have to negotiate with the other taxing entities. It's a very difficult, obvious negotiation because you've got 7 cents. So you've got a nickel and 2 pennies, and you're going to a poker party where they've got all the other chips. Very difficult negotiation, but it has been done with enhanced infrastructure financing districts. And one other source I think is worth noting, and obviously we will be happy to work with the management team on, is redevelopment dissolution has a waterfall, as we call it, which is the RPTTF. It's the what used to be tax increment, and it paid for the debt service. And as we pay off the former redevelopment debt service, that tax increment, that waterfall, is flowing to the other taxing entities on a tax system that was devised in 1979, AB 8. So those that had high property taxes that arguably caused Prop 13, they were locked in at the high rates. The more conservative cities like yourself that had a low tax rate was locked in at the 7% share. So as that waterfall comes out, maybe negotiations with the county and other taxing entities, again, not easy, but capturing a share of that new money, because it's new money to everyone. It's not new money. I shouldn't say that. It's your money that's new to everyone else. It was your former tax increment. So with that, again, I very much appreciate the time and happy to answer any questions, but thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. A nice summary. Does anybody have any questions? I know I do.
I do.
Please,
Would you like me to go first?
please.
All right. I generally don't like to bay at the moon, but I'm going to bay at the moon for a moment. There are so many policy inconsistencies in housing legislation that it would drive one who knows something about housing absolutely mad. Virtually all of the housing initiatives taking the form of legislation in order to promote affordable housing have a provision requiring the payment of prevailing wage. How does that work?
It's kind of akin to prevailing wage as well as solar rooftops. And I mean,
Right.
you're absolutely right, Councilmember. And there's not a good answer for it. I mean, there's obvious interest groups, and labor has a strong presence in Sacramento, but they want affordable housing, but most of the competing measures, to your point, drive up housing cost.
Yeah.
And I don't think the YIMBY report that came out this year, as well as the select committee on permitting, they fail to recognize that dynamic. They want to say it's just locals not approving enough building permits, but really it's the policies that are driving up the cost of living as well.
And the second issue, if the state wants to put a significant dent in the housing crisis, why not bring back redevelopment agencies? That is the one tool that could put a significant dent in the housing problem, particularly with the 20% affordable housing set aside that was required before redevelopment agencies were outlawed.
It's a conversation that has been taking place, how to try to put the genie back in the bottle since 2011 when they eliminated redevelopment. And when you talk to legislators, they'll say we need to do something on redevelopment. I use the old adage, we all want to go to heaven, we just don't want to die. The challenge really is the property tax increment that we used to capture that went to schools, 50+% of it, getting that back now that schools has it, it becomes a very difficult dynamic. But again, I think the RPTTF, that new money, it's billions of dollars statewide, would be the place to start, because you're not taking it from schools. It's really using former increment and saying what's an equitable allocation to do so. And it's not just us saying that. The legislative analyst, back when Governor Brown proposed elimination of redevelopment, said in the conclusion of the LAO, which is the nonpartisan analyst for the legislature, said simply eliminating redevelopment and distributing the property tax increment to on a system that was devised in the late 1970s does not recognize the needs of today's communities. So there is some discussion around that, but we'll see if it starts to materialize. The more the debt service obligations get paid down, the larger that increment, that waterfall becomes.
Yeah, so the concept would be to make the waterfall permanent?
It would be to, rather than just give the waterfall back, which is happening today on AB8,
Mhm.
to rethink AB8 and property tax shares. I mean, you have fire districts, and no offense to fire districts, that get 3 times the amount of as their city. And so having a minimum distribution, if you will, of that waterfall before it goes out to the others.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tina, you must have a comment. Please.
I do have, you know this, and your fellow legislative advocates all know this, but the perception of the governor shifting right is palpable. And even today, where he came out against um, uh, transgenders involved in girls' sports, can we take advantage of his, metamorphosis, if you will, albeit I'm sure it's temporary? Is there some, is there an open door there where we might be actually able to accomplish something through the governor's office, or is this all just blue smoke and mirrors?
I would say the governor's office has been very good even before the shift towards the center or even right center. The administration has been very good for our firm, and that door's been open. So I would say yes, the door is open, depending on the issue, whether it's property tax, RENA credits for college students or college dormitories. They've been open to those type of conversations. And they may be a little more reasonable given the shift that you noted.
Well,
That's-
that last one, the RENA credit for university and state college system would be spectacular.
There was legislation by Senator Becker last year that attempted to do that. It got tripped up in the second house, the Assembly Appropriations Committee, but I think we'll see ongoing efforts. And unfortunately, that legislation really required more of a condominium style dormitory where full facilities were in the dormitory, which doesn't necessarily reflect, your typical dorm. So it needs some massaging, but I think we're going to continue to see that. And it's not just the students, it's those that work at the colleges, as you know, as well.
I'm excited about the AB 1407 that Wallace has put before
Mhm.
Congress, and that addresses RENA credits exactly like everybody's talking about here. We've actually been working with Wallace on that. So that would be a thing we definitely want to see come to fruition this year. And that actually takes kind of Coachella Valley as an experiment on RENA credits to see if it could work at a state level. So very excited about that.
It's a very good point. And it's a spot bill in its current form, so we kind of have a blank canvas as to what it could look like. But to the extent we can generate some of the business community, labor community, public safety communities to get behind it. Assemblymember Wallace is a great legislator, but it's going to be an uphill climb. And we'll also look to folks like Senator Becker out of the Menlo Park area to, assist with that because he's very plugged in. The town of Atherton had the legislation last year, so it's a growing need.
The higher education lobbyists should be so supportive, I would think, or am I
They
dreaming?
they have been, but it hasn't risen to, top priorities, but they have been supportive. I mean, everyone kind of has their marching orders, but they have absolutely helped.
Okay. Brian, do you have anything?
I don't. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Very good.
Congratulations on the election.
Oh, thank you.
That's how our family started. My grandfather ran for the Dairy Valley City Council back in 1958, which you'll know Dairy Valley as the city of Cerritos.
Right.
So if not for that election, I may be milking cows today.
Yeah,
so.
your family your family story was very interesting. It was that
I
had
think
to.
that's all automated now, isn't it? I mean,
No.
you press a button and it happens.
And I'm not so
Would have been a
sure,
lot easier.
and I'm not so sure metaphorically if he isn't still milking cows, if you know what I mean.
Thank you.
Dairy Valley is where we used to drag race when I was a kid.
All right, let's go on to public comments, please. Keep the meeting moving. Members of the public who wish to speak on consent items or items not listed on the agenda may do so at this time. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes. Speakers will be alerted when their time is up. Once speakers have had an opportunity to speak, no further comments will be permitted. Please note that while the City Council values your comments, the Council cannot respond nor take action on matters not listed on the agenda until the matter may appear on forthcoming agendas. So, with that said, does anybody have any public comments?
Yes, I have one speaker card for Sam Spinello. Thank you.
Sam, please. The price is right. Come on down.
Good day, members of the council. I'm here simply for one purpose, is to offer each and every one of you a compliment.
Oh, dear.
And this extends to the mayor who's not present, so if you so wish,
be sure to
later,
tell him.
please share. The context is of the compliment originates from when I was recently speaking as a 20-year member of the Board of Trustees of the Living Desert and a past board member in support of the city's financial support of the Living Desert. And ultimately, the city did support that, which I appreciate, not to the degree that was being requested, but I'm getting the compliment. The compliment was, I saw what I thought was, in my opinion, a very professional, honest, and thoughtful discourse between each and every one of you. And as a citizen of the city and an owner of 4 separate properties and a taxpayer, I really appreciated how activated you all were, how professional, how engaged you each were. And although it didn't necessarily go my way that day, I walked away feeling very appreciative of each and every one of you, including the mayor who's not present. This compliment is equal to all of you, because I was watching it go back and forth. And as a citizen, I feel as though I'm very appreciative and in very good hands for each and every one of you. And as those not necessarily in favor of that item that day spoke, then the others spoke with professional discord in regards, and it was a good back and forth. And that's what I hope for, maybe expect, let's say I hope for as a citizen. And that is, and I represent a very small percentage of the population here. I'm not fortunate enough to yet be retired. So I have a day job. So I took a few moments out of my day, worked this morning. I'm going to go back to work, but I want to come here and thank each and every one of you
Thank you.
equally. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
You know, I think cordiality, respect, listening, healthy debate are all values that we cherish as elected officials, and thank you for your comments. Have a good day. Okay, city manager reports. City manager report. What do you
Thank you,
think?
Dr. Taylor,
Dr.
members
Freeland,
of
what do you think?
council. No problem. I have several items to go through quickly. Tennis is going strong. That's one of the reasons we're having an earlier meeting today. Remember, this weekend, the tournament will be at its busiest. So we encourage people, if you're not attending the tournament, to try and avoid the area for your traffic purposes. But if you are attending, please get there early, as you will have some traffic impacts. Also, on Sunday, March 2nd, the city sent an email to all residents about resident ticket usage rules, as well as the process for getting same-day tickets. Please read that about the rules. But as far as same-day tickets, I thought it'd be important to share everybody that we every night at around 4:30 we post what tickets are available for the following day. And so if you want to get same-day tickets, for example, tonight at 4:30, you'll be able to come in tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., get in line by 8 a.m., and you'll be able to see the tickets that are available for that same day. Now, tomorrow is a little bit different since we're not open over the weekend. Tomorrow, we will have the availability of any same-day tickets for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of this week. Okay. On Sunday night, we'll open up again what same-day tickets we have available. That'll be available on Monday for Monday's tournament. And so if there's any questions you have, please review the email that was sent out by the city on Sunday, March the 2nd, because it does have rules and information about same-day tickets, but we do get a handful every so often. And again, today with Residents' Day, we gave out hundreds of tickets today for our residents. So a great thing happening here in Indian Wells with the tennis tournament.
So just for clarity on that one
Certainly.
comment, a lot of people ask this question. When we have same day tickets that come available, do they look online to see how many tickets there are?
There will be, yes, there'll be a number of tickets available at 4:30 tonight. We'll have an idea
Online.
which ones, yes, online, because what'll happen is during the course of the day today, some folks say, you know what, I can't go tomorrow after all. And so they're non-transferable, so have to return them back to the city. And so we're very fortunate that many residents understand that privilege that they receive the tickets, they want to make sure that benefit is passed on to other folks. So
Do
residents
they
are very
come
good
here
about that.
and line up in the morning?
They do. We actually have
What time?
seen folks
9
here-
a.m.?
8 a.m. You line up prior to 8 a.m. They open the doors at 8 a.m. and start giving out the tickets. But we've seen people get here 5 in the morning or earlier sometimes, especially when it comes to the finals weekend.
Sure.
So, but yes, come here early. Hopefully it'll be warmer than it has been in the mornings hours. But yes, feel free to come by and get those same day tickets.
Thank you for the clarity.
You're welcome. In addition, thank you all to attended the groundbreaking for the Players Course redesign yesterday. We've got some great coverage by KESQ and others. So congratulations to the city and the golf resort, and stay tuned for the grand opening, which is scheduled for November. Kudos to our Public Works Department. I'm happy to report they've secured an additional $662,490 in state highway safety funds for safer streets along Fairway Drive. So that's another $600,000 towards that project that the city council is still contemplating.
Bravo.
Bravo to them. Yes, great job by the team. And it's just a reminder of some upcoming events in the next several weeks. March 24th at 6 p.m. at the Golf Resort will be Resident Movie Night. And I believe the movie is Top Gun Maverick. So come on out, watch Top Gun Maverick at the Golf Resort on March 24th. On April 10th at 6 p.m., we will have the Resident End of the Season event. And then finally, as a reminder, the City Council Strategic Planning Session is scheduled for April 17th at the Golf Resort as well. And that will be an all-day event. I think we start around 9 a.m. with the meeting and conclude around 3 o'clock. And with that, Dr. Taylor concludes my comments.
Yeah, just spent some time with John Fote yesterday. He's really excited and engaged with the redesign of the golf course. It's nice to see that. I've been around golf course redesigns in my life, and the architect or designer, as I was corrected, is not always so present. So the fact that he cares so much about being here, and then kudos to you as well, Dr. Vreeland, for bringing in Clive Clark, the other designer, for the second golf course over there to memorialize for history purposes and marketing and promotional purposes, the two designers being able to talk on camera together about the brilliance of creating these two golf courses and maintaining them and their significance to the area. So hats off. Any other comments for team here at the table? No. Okay, then we'll go to the next item on the agenda, which is the consent calendar.
City attorney report.
Oh, sorry, city attorney report. There you go. City attorney, we have a fill-in city attorney. That's why I skipped this.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Carlos Campos. I serve as the managing partner of our local office here in Indian Wells. Serve as city attorney for a few cities and special districts.
Wow.
So it was nice to be here today. I was able to drive from my house to the city here, and then I can just drive over to the office. So thank you for the opportunity.
You have no report?
No report.
No report. You see, after all of that. All right. Letter G, consent calendar.
Move
All
it up.
matters.
I was move adoption.
Second.
There you go. Very good. I do want to make a comment versus pulling it. I want to make a comment on the G, let's see here, 9. G9. So first of all, I want to just commend transparency and communication when there is a problem and when the problem is addressed and recognized. In this particular case, the West Drop structure, uh, project came in over budget, about $300,000 or so. Uh, Construction was completed, work was done. Uh, Based on the on-site folks and the need to complete. Uh, Process has been put in place so that in the future, before those expenses are made, the city manager will be contacted and normal approval processes, checks and balances, et cetera, are put in place so that that kind of a overage does not occur without appropriate approvals. And I just want to say that, we make mistakes, we address mistakes, we fix them so they don't happen again. And I want to compliment everybody involved on that transparency, because that's a good form of governance. With that said, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of passing?
Aye.
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 All right, passes 5-0.
4.
4-0, excuse me. Now we go to public hearings, if I'm not mistaken. So for each of the items listed under public hearings, the public will be provided an opportunity to speak. After a staff report is provided, the mayor will open the public hearing. At the time, the applicant will be allowed 5 minutes to make a presentation on the case. Members of the public will then be allowed 3 minutes each to speak, unless there are a number of persons wishing to speak, and then the mayor will allow only 2 minutes to accommodate for more people. So, let's see here. What do we have? Number one,
Staff presentation.
we do the staff presentation. Okay,
Good morning, Dr. Taylor, members of the City Council. As required annually by law, the City Council must hold a public hearing to levy the city's special fire tax. This voter-approved $10 per month levy supports fire suppression and paramedic services, enhancing public safety in our community. There is no change to the prior tax amount. Staff recommends that Dr. Taylor open the public hearing, invite any public comments, close the hearing, and then simply adopt the resolution as it's presented. That concludes my report, and of course, I'm available for any questions you may have.
excellent. Okay, so we move to H1. Ordering the levy and collection of assessments for the special fire tax standby and availability charges.
So if there's no, you'll just open the hearing and then we can close it.
Yep. So the hearing is open.
No comments.
No comments. Okay. The hearing is closed.
Move adoption.
Second the motion.
Before we approve, just one clarification for everyone. This is, I believe, an annual event. This is not something new. And so it's just a perfunctory need for every year for us to approve this. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct. It was originally formed in 1980. It's been going on ever since.
Yeah. So there's no real change to the anything involved here. It's just
No, sir,
There you
it's just your annual levy.
okay. I've got a motion to approve. We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
It passes 4-0. Thank you, Dana, for the 4-0. Let's see here. What are we doing? That's it, right? General business?
H1.
Do you have any more?
H1.
Oh,
H1.
What do we have here? That's what we just did, didn't we?
Just did H1.
Yes, that we just did H1.
Excuse me.
It's okay. No, please.
That's why you're in charge.
Look,
Mm,
I'm just trying to move things along, Dana. If you
You're
want to
d-
go over it again, we can.
You're doing a great job.
Okay.
And I'm going to shut up.
Okay. All right, now we're going to general business. The mayor will call upon the members of the public to address the council regarding the agenda item being considered. After the public has provided comment, the item is closed to further comment and brought to the council for discussion and action. So, we have item I1, Children's Discovery Museum of the Desert, one-time funding request for fiscal 24-25. So we're going to open this for staff presentation. As the first step, who makes the staff presentation on this?
Dr. Taylor, I'll take the opportunity to do so. for
Okay.
staff. Just before you this afternoon, or this morning, excuse me, is a request from the Children's Discovery Museum of the Desert for a one-time funding request for this fiscal year for $10,000. As you recall, the Children's Discovery Museum of the Desert is a nonprofit organization founded in 1986, is a charter member of the Association of Youth Museums, and is a active participant in many activities here in the Coachella Valley. The Children's Museum has been a top attraction in the Coachella Valley for over 30 years, with approximately 5,000 visitors per day. Indian Wells, as a community, has been a corporate partner of the Children's Museum, as well as our hotel partners, who promote the Children's Museum as one of the amenities here in the Coachella Valley to attract families to stay at their properties. Recently, the City Council in 2022 approved a one-time contribution of $25,000 to help fund a remodel of the museum, with the city's contribution being utilized for a new 0 to 8-year-old children's exhibit. The Children's Discovery Museum has $10,000 request that they are doing this year, or requesting from the City Council this year, is to go towards a STEM program that will provide highlighting exciting exhibits and participation in areas of science such as chemistry, physics, biology, astronomy, and engineering. And the program is designed to be hands-on, engaging for children between the ages of 4 and 12. They are hoping to encourage family participation at these events and to foster a love for STEM. The request itself of $10,000 is being brought to the council for discussion purposes and direction. In the report, we provide you several options. One, to council discuss and approve the request. Council denies the request. Council directs staff to forward this matter for consideration at both the marketing and finance committees and brought back at a future council meeting. Or you can forward the request to go through the annual grants and aid process that the city does in August, or direct staff to add the matter for discussion at an upcoming annual city budget discussion. Gave you a lot of options on this one. Now, as far as funding the request today, the city council at your discretion has a granted aid discretionary account. This project could qualify under that if so be the desire of the city council. And with that, myself,
What's the amount of the discretionary fund, please?
it's $40,000 per year, and there's also a small amount that was rolled over from the previous year. And so there is funds available this current fiscal year for this type of request if so warranted. And with that, myself and our finance director are here to answer any questions.
I think first we have public comments, if I'm not mistaken. Are there any public comments?
Yes, I do have 2 comments. We have Cindy Burrison, followed by Marcy Maxwell.
Cindy, come on down. You're the next contestant.
I always wanted to be on Price is Right.
Good.
Good morning, City Council. I'm Cindy Burrison, and I'm the proud CEO of the Children's Discovery Museum of the Desert. And first of all, I want to thank you for your consideration today, but also thank you for your ongoing support. The Cove Communities has been a champion for the museum since the beginning. The 3 Cove Communities cities were our original funders, and then again with the reimagination when I came on board during COVID so that we could have our amazing reimagination with 40 new exhibits. A lot of people think that families don't come from Indian Wells to the museum, and that is not true. We have a lot of grandparents that bring families, and we have a lot of young families in Indian Wells. It is an up-and-coming destination for young families. But also, families come to Indian Wells. And having worked at the Renaissance Indian Wells for several years, I know that the marketing strategies of your resorts are gearing towards families. With the reimagination that the Renaissance did, that the Hyatt did, and all of the activities that are here in the desert that kids are drawn to, like tennis. We have a lot of tennis families coming to the museum right now. And another example would be the LA Fire families that came to fill all of the resorts in the area. We were an opportunity for those families to come when they had nothing else to do. We had kids that came in their pajamas with their teddy bear that were in all of the resorts in the valley but had nowhere else to go. So we provided discounted admissions. We provided free events that we just came with our partners and had events like a Kidchella event, a music festival for 500 family members to come, and we celebrated with them and gave them something else to think about. So what that translates for the city of Indian Wells is the heads and beds, as we like to call it in the hotel industry, and the transient occupancy taxes. So that's how Indian Wells is affected by the Children's Discovery Museum, is having a place for families to go when they do visit. Is that my, oh, I thought it got turned off. I'm like, wow, I was on a roll. I really appreciate you considering this funding. It's going to fund science nights. Science in schools right now is not fun from my kids' perspectives. So we make it fun. You never know what sort of a spark it's going to ignite in a child to learn about science. It could spark a potential career pathway, but just the love of science, math, engineering, and art is what we're all about at the Kids Museum with hands-on learning. So I appreciate your consideration. And if you have any questions, I'm here for you. Thank you so much.
I do.
Okay.
So science nights, $10,000 is going specifically to science nights.
Correct.
And how many science nights will this enable for you?
So we're going to do weekly science nights
For a year?
for a year.
For literally 12 months or
Correct.
like, okay.
Yes.
Starting as soon as you get the funding?
Starting probably in April, we have spring break camps. So we're hoping to try to work it out with spring break camps. If not, it will start in May.
And science would be teaching the benefits of understanding science?
Understanding science through hands-on learning. So we do a lot of experimentation with the kids. So for example, last week when we had science as part of our programming, we made lava lamps that used baby oil, water, glitter, confetti, and then we put Alka-Seltzer tabs in them, and they got to see that scientific reaction, that chemical reaction.
That sounds like a night at Dana's house. So the question I
We
have,
borrowed it from him.
kind of right. So the question I have for you is, will you be able to share with us toward the end of the year how many kids went through the program and what the effect of the science nights would be? Is that something you can track for
Absolutely.
us?
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
that's part of the thing we want to do here is, have some accountability with the grants that we provide.
Of course.
Okay. Anybody else have questions?
I don't have any questions. It all starts with children. We have to build a foundation, and this is a wonderful way to do so. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
All right, next. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have
Marcy Maxwell.
Marcy. Come on down.
Thank you, Council. Good to be here with you this morning on our way to tennis. Dressed warm today. I'm here as a grandma. I'm a grandma who has visited the Children's Museum with my 4-year-old grandson a few times. And, when he comes to town, he has to go back. It's fun, it's learning experience, and it's important. That we do have things for children to do in this valley when it gets hot, to have places indoors that they can go in and enjoy that. And there's always new exhibits there when we go. And, as Cindy mentioned also, and I always think about the fact that our hotels really have made an intentional focus to bring families here and to have another opportunity for them to, have another way to engage the kids. And have something for them to do is terrific. And I can tell you, I'm a huge proponent of STEM. When I was in the Washington State Legislature, I did a lot of STEM work on behalf of the state of Washington. Makes a big difference in preparation for students. STEM affects every career path these days. You can look at even agriculture, measuring how you water versus just turning on the water to water and on from there. But from agriculture all the way through, running the HVAC systems in buildings and computer science and all of those kinds of things, STEM is a really important area. So I am a very strong proponent of the museum and the effort to bring STEM nights here to our valley. Thank you for your support.
Thank you for your time. Does that conclude the public comments? Okay. So, gentlemen, do we have any thoughts?
Dr. Taylor, I can't provide any greater justification for this than the director of the museum just provided to us.
It's worth
Thank you for that.
worth noting that Bruce Whitman, in his absence, sent an email to make sure that he would be a real advocate for sponsoring this $10,000 request, and hopes we do so.
I like the option of taking the $10,000 from the $40,000 previously budgeted amount rather than waiting until, rather than any of the other options.
Agreed.
Um,
And so I would, you want to make a motion?
I was going to,
Go,
please.
no, go ahead. I'll second it.
I'll move approval of a one-time funding request of $10,000 for the Children's Discovery Museum,
Taken from,
taken from the $40,000 set aside that
Thank you.
the
I'll
council
second that.
previously approved.
I'd like to add, please, to the motion that that gift will include a data uh, uh,
A report.
report by the end of the year on
That's
use of
acceptable.
proceeds.
That's acceptable to the maker of the motion.
yes.
Okay, we have two.
What-
We have a
when you say
motion.
the end of the year, do you mean the end of this year?
End of
or
this
the
year.
This is a 12-month program, though.
Yeah. At the end of the 12 months.
So we'll be funding this before in this fiscal year 24-25, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But Dr. Taylor, when do you want the report?
In December.
In December? Okay,
Yes.
fine. Or in January through December.
How about December?
Okay,
Thank you.
through November.
There you go. I have a motion. I have a second. Gentlemen, please vote.
Aye.
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 Aye, passes 4-0. Congratulations. All right, I2, city's 2025 legislative platform, recommended actions. Council adopt the city 2025-26 legislative platform. Do we have any staff presentation here?
Hi, good morning, honorable members of the council. My name is Jennifer Aguilar. I'm the management assistant for the administrative services. The item before you today is adoption of the new legislative platform. The purpose of the legislative platform is to allow staff to efficiently process support and opposition letters in line with council's legislative priorities, addressing topics the city stands for or against, creating a framework for participation in the legislative process on the statewide and sometimes federal level. The legislative cycle covers 2 years, with many of the year one bills rolling into the second year. As such, the city began adopting a 2-year platform in 2021. State received input from our legislative advocates, our state legislative offices, the city lobbyist, the League of California Cities, the California Contract Cities Association, the Greater Coachella Valley Chamber of Commerce, to gain insight into the top issues for the 2025 and 2026 legislative session. The top issues include local control, housing and land use development, public safety, and homelessness. Typically, the platform allows for real-time or reactive action. As mentioned by Jason during his presentation, this year the platform includes 2 proactive legislative efforts that city staff can assist with implementing. These include RENA reforms and NOLO tax equity. February 21st was the last day for bills to be introduced this cycle, and with policy committee hearings already well underway, staff recommends adoption of the platform for immediate use in evaluating and participating in the rapidly changing advocacy space in Sacramento. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Just a comment that I'm thrilled to see that we're actually going to be proactive now on a couple of key issues. I think after our trip to Sacramento in January, we're going to be able to utilize the Gonzalez's who spoke earlier and put to work some of our dollars to actually affect Indian Wells versus just necessarily the agenda set forth by California cities or California contract cities. Does anybody have any questions?
Move adoption.
We have a motion to accept.
Second motion.
Second the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
4-0 passes.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Good job, Jennifer. We're on to J, council member reports. Council members may ask a question for clarification, make a referral to staff to take action, or to have staff place a matter of business on a future agenda. The council may take action on items listed on the agenda. We go to J1. So we have Councilmember Penna requesting to place a discussion item on a future agenda, citywide holiday decorations. Over to you.
Okay. Obviously, the holidays are in the rearview mirror, and looking forward, instead of being last minute and trying to have some holiday spirit within our city, I want to motion to add to the 2025 budget, if we can add some decor on our street lamps, have a larger tree out front, repurpose the trees that we currently have now. We are a city reliant on tourism, and when folks are coming here and after Thanksgiving through the holidays, it just didn't feel like we were aligned with our brand. So I would like to have some conversation to get this on to the budget.
Move approval.
Yeah, I'll second it with the understanding that this is just a request to put a matter on a future agenda. So I would expect that the city manager would come back with a program proposal, cost estimate, and so forth.
And,
And-
Mr. Pena, do you have, Councilman Pena, excuse me, do you have any direction as to what you would like to send the?
Yeah, I mean, a little explanation in regard to if we purchase the decorations, store them ourselves and have Public Works install them, as to having a vendor do it, the cost difference disparity on that would be great to see what would be the best choice for our city if we decide to move forward with this. Having probably doing the streetlights within the corridor in between Cook and possibly Club or Indian Wells Lane, just to focus on the major part of our corridor here. I think our hotels would be pretty ecstatic about this as well. So that would be what I would want in a report.
Dr. Taylor, if I may, if I can add to that, Councilman Reed has advocated for a number of years that we have a very, very large tree out in front of the city hall, fully decorated. So
Yeah. So okay. So let me be a little bit more laser focused on this. A 30-foot tree would be amazing. Obviously lit or lighted, of course. I don't. I think Dana's
Is Councilman Reed
mentioned
here?
that there-
Oh,
oh, he's
Dana.
here. He's here. But I'm not sure I want to go down a path of every year chopping down a 30-foot tree. It's just not very sustainable in my opinion. So having something that's that large and that with that presence would be pretty spectacular for our city.
Councilman Reed, do you have any comments
I would just like it discussed.
on a future agenda?
At whenever this is, I think that should be part of our discussion. My suggestion is it's sort of like a mini Rockefeller Center. We have what? How many thousand people go along 111?
Officer, you would have those numbers.
And I think something as iconic as the Rockefeller Center tree, although not quite as large, is something that would be of benefit to the hotels, which is kind of a slow period of time, and would be really outstanding. But and obviously, just add it to part of the assessment. That's all.
And to
Okay.
further elaborate, Palm Desert they do install the light, I guess the street light decorations are probably 10 or 12 feet high and they hang off to the side. And we're not doing that. And it's when you leave Palm Desert and you enter our city, those are really nice. I don't know the expense on those. So
Okay,
I would
so
like-
is there a motion to just put this on a future agenda item?
yes, I would like to make that motion.
Okay, and is there a second?
second motion.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Okay.
All right, I guess now we go through individual council members. So let's see, who's going first here?
I'll go first.
Okay,
Okay. I don't have any updates except community activities. City Manager Freeland touched on the last two. The movie night on the Green, March 24th. The movie is Top Gun Maverick. More information on and details on this event will be sent to residents soon. The resident and end of season party will be held on Thursday, April 10th. The theme will be 2 Tickets to Paradise, Vacation Island theme. Details and registration will be out soon. Additionally, we have an author speaking series on March 17th, and this event is already sold out. This is Clark Rockefellers by Frank Girardeau. And lastly, the Indian Wells Preservation Foundation annual meeting will be held on March 19th at the Indian Wells Country Club. And that ends my comments.
Thank you. Councilmember Sanders,
Nothing to report.
Councilmember Reed.
Two things. Number one, the April 10th end of season gala. If April 10th is the end of our season, we're in serious trouble. I mean, that's before Easter, that's before Mother's Day, it's before Coachella, it's before everything. We can celebrate on April 10th if we want, but if we're considering that the end of our season, I think we're leaving a huge amount on the table.
Can I elaborate on that, Dana?
Sure.
Okay, so that was one of my main concerns, and this was scheduled prior to my and being on this committee. I thought April 10th was obviously way too early. Easter is, I believe, at the end of the month, the 23rd or 28th. I don't have my calendar with that date in front of me, so it is a concern. I believe it's too early. I know there's some issues with weather maybe being too warm, but we're in the desert, so I didn't think that should be an
We
issue.
refer this back to the committee for them to just make sure
If I
that
can
they-
answer, I can answer that question for you.
Yes.
We can refer it. So the as you know, we do normally hold this event at the pavilion. Unfortunately, the pavilion is not available for use through, there's some work that's being done. So
Golf course is a small project.
the committee did research other venues, and it was triple the cost of what
Right.
we get at the golf resort. So in order to still have it at the golf resort, whether it's not scorching hot, we're gonna have it a little early.
Okay.
It's gonna be held outside.
Fine.
The committee's trying to be prudent, Dana.
Well, I think that's great. Can we call it something other than the end of season? Why don't we call it mid-season gala rather than end of season?
That's
gala?
perfect. And maybe then we can pick out a 40-foot tree for Christmas.
Oh, now it's 40 foot.
Evidently.
It was 30.
Okay.
Now it's 40.
Well, as long as we're spending money.
Okay, let me just finish very quickly on my thing. SCAG meets here in the desert in May. Dr. Topper is going to be our delegate. I'm going to be our alternate, although we haven't formalized that yet, have we, Madam Clerk? That Dr. Topper is going to be the delegate at the SCAG.
Yes, we have confirmed that.
Okay, fine. The Conservation Committee and the Sustainability Committee has not met since our last meeting. As you'll recall, I was late at our last meeting because it conflicted with their meeting. Indian Wells Finance and Legal Oversight Committee meets next week, and that's the end of my report.
Very good. Did anybody get any comments from the mayor, even in his absence? I didn't. Chris, nobody? Okay, very good. So I'll go then. CVAG was quiet. The Golf Resort Committee, chose the 75-25 white sand, which seems to be exciting. Riverside County Transportation Committee had their annual retreat. And what can I say about that? There are two things that I thought were interesting to share. One is all the cities are going to have a lower amount from the gas tax coming our way this year due to an unintended consequence of electric cars on the road, therefore reducing the amount of gasoline that people are buying, therefore reducing the amount coming back to help our cities pave our roads. The actual other unintended consequence of electronic cars is their weight. The batteries weigh so much more, they weigh more than normal cars, therefore they abuse and use the roads in a manner that require the roads to be paved more often. So comment one, food for thought. The second food for thought item is that our population in the county of Riverside has doubled since the year 2000. And there's another 800,000 people coming in by 2040. And therefore, the projected average speed limit on the 10 freeway will be 30 miles an hour. So we either have to tell people to go away or do something with the roads and the $1 billion transportation committee budget, which we're trying to figure out. If anybody has any questions or thoughts, they can always talk to me at some point in time. That, I believe, ends the individual reports for the council members. And I believe that concludes our meeting today. Is there anything else that needs to be discussed? Angelica?
No, just that you're going to be adjourning, recessing to a closed session.
Yeah. So we are now, we're now going to recess to a closed session. Once the closed session has ended, the city attorney or presiding officer will make any announcement required by the Brown Act relative to reportable actions taken during the closed session. Okay, on behalf of the city of Indian Wells, this meeting is now adjourned.